Hello, my name is Rocky, the founder of AJ House. So excited to be here. We have an amazing panel here to give us some real knowledge about what's happening in the AI industry right now. At AJ House, we host this kind of conversations on a more weekly basis. We're really excited about the people that's really on the field, really doing the work that has first-hand knowledge. So today, these are the people. I will let them introduce themselves. You guys from Ramin?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Ramin Hasani. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Liquid AI. Maybe you could go for
Want to talk a little more about what Liquid AI is and what
Absolutely.
the product vision?
Absolutely. We are a foundation model company spun out of MIT. 2.5 years ago, we were building AI from scratch, foundation models for devices. So we built very efficient foundation models. We actually invented a completely different architecture for foundation models. Like, as you know, the current base of generative AI models is based on a transformer architecture. We have actually started our research, which was part of my PhD thesis about 5 years ago, and I finished it, was on some technology called liquid neural networks. These are adaptable type of neural networks that are brain-inspired, so they can actually consume a lot less energy compared to the models that are out there today. So because of that energy properties, you can bring these AI solutions directly on device. So when I say device, that means you can run these systems on CPUs, GPUs, and NPUs. That creates a whole different market for foundation models so that we can actually have on normal devices like a coffee machine, like a car, a mobile phone, a laptop, or anything else can become kind of intelligent. We're building these kind of solutions for many different values, like privacy is one aspect of it, because if computation happens directly at the edge, then everything stays private. The fact that we are designing very efficient foundation models reduces the latency of these models. So these models are extremely fast, sub-millisecond, basically, implementations. So financial sector and e-commerce and anything related to search really is interesting for this type of technology. And at the same time, accessibility. So if you need 2.6 billion people on Earth right now are not connected to the internet. So you can think about like when you do not have access to the internet, or you're working in situations where it becomes very difficult to have access to the internet. This is kind of the places where you can use this kind of AI to enable access to generative AI. Our systems are multimodal, and we're working with many Fortune 500s right now. We are a B2B company in the space of consumer electronics, automotive, cyber, finance, and e-commerce. All right.
Amazing.
My name is Tim. I'm co-founder of Cresta. My journey in AI actually started at MIT. I studied at Josh Tannenbaum's lab, Bayesian networks, and probabilistic program. And then I went into the dark path of studying deep learning instead, and went to the West Coast to start a company. So I started Cresta. Cresta is one of the leading companies in AI for customer experience. We work with a lot of airlines and banks to help and listening and optimize their sort of voice customer experience. If you're calling United Airlines or Hilton, they're probably our AI is in the works of making your experience better.
Very cool. So I'm Wen. I'm the co-founder and COO of Genspark.ai. What Genspark is we build AI agents for knowledge workers. So in the past, human beings would have to craft the work, word by word, pixel by pixel, learning all kinds of software tools. Now with Genspark Super Agent, you just command the Super Agent to do work for you. It's like having a fleet of Goldman Sachs analysts in your pocket. If you're building a presentation, you just ask Genspark to do it for you. It gets 60, 70, 80, 90% of the work done, and you just apply your creativity and strategic thinking. You tell the super agent if you like it or not, and then go from there. So with that, you gain a lot of time back. We launched the Super Agent Suite back in April this year. 2 weeks ago, we just broke $50 million ARR, about 5 months. So our users are global. People love us, and then all of a sudden, corporate folks started to reach out as well. We'll talk more about that later. Before this, I built another company, Enterprise SaaS. We sold software to municipalities and commercial real estate owners. And before that, I was a PhD student at MIT, course 2.
Okay, cool. So today's topic is about from code to customers. I guess and then to knowledge. The first question I want to ask is like for the panel, how do you get your customers? How do you go to your market? I think we'll start from you.
Sounds good. So for us, when we first launched our product, it was meant to be for just individual users. And we were very fortunate that within 45 days of launching, we got to about 2 million users globally. It was completely, bottoms up, product-led growth, word of mouth. And our focus was just craft the product. What really helped us was, when it comes to using AI agents or tools, consumers are smart, right? It's pretty easy to tell, am I spending more time going back and forth with the AI instead of like I'm just working on it myself, or it's actually saving me time. So with that kind of focus, we pushed the product to a level where it's one shot. And I was on the phone with this CFO of a publicly traded real estate company. He's based in Dallas. He said, look, when I've tried 20 tools on the market, you guys are the only one that is boardroom ready. So that kind of quality gives us kind of bottoms up opportunities when it comes to individual users. But then, as I mentioned, by June, July timeframe, a lot of household names, PE firms from Japan, consumer electronics companies from Korea, government agency from Dubai, oil gas company from Bogota, Colombia, investment banks from London, they all reached out. They were like, wow, our employees used your product and they really loved it, and they pushed it to the leadership team and then IT. We have to have you. At that time, we didn't even have a team plan or enterprise plan. So we had to launch it, 3-4 weeks after that. And today we do have both. And also we're working, through all the SOC 2, Type 2, ISO 27001, all the good stuff to make sure we can satisfy the enterprise needs. So that's kind of our go-to market, bottoms up, all inbound.
Tim?
Actually, it's a good contrast because we actually only focus on enterprise. So we hire a lot of salespeople to play golf with our customers.
My favorite.
The good thing is we try to get to say if you have half of the Fortune 500 use your product and pay say 2 million a year, then you can get to hundreds of millions of AR. So that's our target, and I think that it's a very different go-to-market motion. For the bottom-up, it's actually easier for adoption. You can see a lot of bottom-up early signs, and you can refine your product. For enterprise, it's a completely different kind of play, and you would have to work with a slower sort of legacy customers who may not as move or think as fast as Silicon Valley AI companies, and you sort of have to go in and educate them how AI transformation will look like. Some of them may not know that much about generative AI. You have to sort of work with them where they are and make the transformation from day one. And we also started more through partnerships. I think that's one way we go to market now too, working with platforms like Salesforce and Google to resell our products. And that could be a good way for if you want to start a company enterprise, you can gain sales efficiency through distribution through these partners.
Great. So we are also a B2B company. We're working with enterprises with different sectors, but we are the model layer. So we build people can build applications, or enterprises can build applications or agentic AI kind of applications on top of the range of foundation models that we put out there. So as a model provider, we are extremely horizontal. We work with all the different sectors. And we try to identify true partnerships also, because we try to stay very close to some of the flagship Fortune 500 companies in each of the sectors. And we try to basically understand what are the real use cases. So be it, let's say, powering inside in the automotive sector, for example, powering inside of a car's intelligence. On the, let's say, consumer electronics, on-device, let's say Apple Intelligence, let's say the on-device portion of it, because if you know, today Apple Intelligence is still powered by likes of Apple Intelligence, is powered by the cloud calls. So you want to bring in as much as you can on device without burning the battery of the device. So there's a lot of other type of challenges that you have to deal with. And then there is also privacy aspects of the private kind of applications of specialized models that people really care about. This is another place. Then in financial sector, as I mentioned, anything that has like low latency and fast decision-making kind of processes, and you want to maintain privacy, which is extremely important for all the clients. This is also another set of use cases that we enable in that market. And then on the bigger side, like we talk also to presidents and governments of countries for sovereign AI, because like a lot of capital is flowing into the cloud base and building massive data centers for artificial intelligence. But we're enabling a completely new kind of market, which is saying like, if you have devices, if citizens of a country have access to devices, they can already have access to generative AI through basically low power, highly confidential, highly private kind of solutions. Like the matters of sustainability becomes like a extremely good sales for governments kind of side of things. And as I mentioned, also the other aspect would be accessibility, which we try to like just turn the values of our technology and products directly into building that market and the go-to-market motion.
Yeah, so I think you guys did a great job on the explaining how you're getting customers. But I think there's a overall like industry conversation about the current adoption of AI, because there's a lot of talks, but in reality, there's a lot of challenges. I would love to see on the first hand, like, what do you guys see? Let's go back from like liquid AI. What do you see? What's the real deal in the industry right now? The customers, of course, the industry did a good job on hype it up. Everyone's talking about AI. Everyone wants to do AI. But at the same time, when they're actually using it, there's so many things that's nuances to it. What did you see? How you think about the current market? Yeah.
Absolutely. So with enterprises and partnerships, we realize that the people that you need to talk to at companies and large enterprises is very important. So for us, it was CTOs, because AI is very technical. So it was CTOs and CPOs, basically. It goes into that kind of departments. So that was like education becomes very important for enterprises. The other thing is that no one wants to sacrifice on quality. When you talk about a generative AI, there is a zoo of models available in the open domain. So you have in the open source, there's like millions of models available from all over the place. The problem with all of these open source models is that enterprises are getting excited about the availability of these models. They take them inside. They spend some money on the POCs to build their own solutions on top of these things. And unfortunately, many of these POCs do not turn into actual production. For what? What's the reason? Is because they cannot match the quality of the cloud solution. So by default, they kind of converge into the cloud solutions. So they say like, all right, so models of Anthropic and OpenAI are going to be like the default thing that we have to go. But they also like wasted that energy and time to build those kind of solutions. What we are trying to do is that no sacrifice on quality, zero sacrifice. In fact, we released some instances of liquid foundation models, which is like a product of my company, LFMs, that are basically specialized systems that are delivering the quality of GPT-5 on a specialized applications. So let's say you want to build an agent for summarization. Like you have a meeting summarizer. It has to be private, because in your enterprise, you don't want to share your data with others. We are going to tell you that there is a model that has only 1 billion parameters. It's extremely tiny instances of a model. It's like probably 200 times or to 500 times smaller than the cloud equivalent. And you can take this instance and use this with the reliability and quality of cloud models. So for us, the challenge was basically getting the quality of small models to the level where it is acceptable for people to use generative AI. Reliability of small models has been always an issue that we try to solve. So I stop there. I have more to say, but go ahead.
Tim?
Yeah, I think right now almost all enterprise realize they need to deploy generative AI, and there's like a survey of what are the sort of success rate of enterprise deployment. I think a year ago, and people were saying like agents don't work. So like about 5% of all the enterprise have success deploying agents. I think this year Wall Street Journal CIO like did another survey which shows like almost like 42% of agents have seen agent success. But I think the use cases vary a lot. So it's not like all use cases within the enterprise are seeing success. People are looking at like different use cases, different ROI, and to see, as you mentioned, like there's different accuracy and latency requirements for different use cases to be successful. And each use case will require a little bit like, understanding existing workflow and human data to understand like how do you get to that level of accuracy. So what people have seen in most like companies, I think the top two use cases are coding and customer support, where the model and agent capability are getting good enough to see a high level ROI. But I think people are actively also exploring other use cases.
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's pretty clear. Both Ramin and Tim they have clear understanding of why people use their products. But for us, the biggest challenge is indeed that we've been fortunate that a lot of people use us, but in the early days, we had no clue why. So that was a challenge. Like, why do people use us? Up until July, when I started reaching out to some of the power users to just have a conversation. So then we learned, okay, for example, there's this young man, Matthew, graduated college. He's based in Michigan, wanted to start his own company one day, but didn't have the capital. And then he just decided to start contracting restaurants and barbershops to build websites for them on Shopify or Direct. He would charge them $5,000, $6,000 a pop. And then before, he would hire developers offshore, paying them $2,000, $3,000. Now it's just Genspark.ai, $25. He makes all the margin. So then we realized, okay, people are making money off your platform. Of course they're going to pay for it. Of course they're going to love it. I also talked to this gentleman, sixth generation Texan, based in Dallas also. He would consult for restaurants to help them to secure bank loans. Before, he would hire human beings to count the traffic of the restaurants. And then he would hire a junior associates to build financial models. And then he would build the presentation himself and then walk into the meetings with the banks together with his clients. Now, it's all Genspark. So he would say, Genspark, do the market research and get me the full understanding of the landscape, and then build this financial model for me, and then build the slides, build the presentation for me. And then he would just go in to the bank meetings with his clients again. And once the loan is secured, he would make a fee. So the landscape of work has changed in our view. In the past, again, human beings, we apply ourselves onto each task. Now we see that, okay, if there is an option for human beings to not do the grunt work, but let AI agents run around and then do the initial grunt work, and then we just focus on the high-value stuff, it's clear there's real value. So that was a process of learning, okay, why people use us at all. So
amazing. So those are the actual information we love to hear more and more in the industry, so that we chart a path towards a real adoption. So at AGI House, we have one single mission, but with two subtasks. One is really pushing the frontier technology, like the frontier models, like liquid AI. Another one is like we believe in the best way to adopt in technology through entrepreneurship. So that's why we host a lot of events, encourage people building companies around it through enterprise adoption. So speaking of that, actually, Tim just mentioned about agents. So Genspark is also an agent company. Recently, if you guys are following Twitter, X now it's called, there's a very, very popular video from Andre Capacci. I think he was triggered by some of the executives says that it's a year of agents, and he made a video podcast. Now it's called his view is like an agent of the decade. So we are still very, very early. Lots of the agents really didn't work in his term, didn't really work. I would love to hear that you guys are on the front and really interacting with the customers. And I think before the panel, I have a brief discussion with Ramin. You might have your own views. I would love to hear, what are you thinking? If you haven't watched the video, which is fine, because in general, how you see that where we are in terms of the agent space?
Yeah, definitely. So as I mentioned, like the thing that is very important is reliability. So from the enterprises, and what I see is that they want systems that can actually, with high reliability, degrees of reliability, do the jobs that they care about, and especially going from non-safety critical applications to more safety critical application, this becomes like a lot more important, So what we are observing is that there are so many algorithmic innovations going into this space of kind of agentic AI and, like the post-training aspects of a foundation model build-up. And that's kind of very exciting. And I feel like, so Karpathy is like very right and on the fact that it is going to be like a, like years that we're going to be in this kind of realm of getting the technology to perform as reliably as we want for real world kind of applications. And honestly, like I feel like it has started, and the deployment has been very, it's just got started this year, to be honest. So maybe some people that are referring to it being like the year of agents, that means like we have like a really ramp in like deployment and maybe like just interest in the AI agent kind of world. But I would just conclude by the fact that like this interest seems to be nonstop, and I don't see like the year being like after 1 year you're gonna shift your focus on something else. I think this is like a continued trend for sure. Yeah.
Tim, do you have anything to contribute to that?
Yeah, I think the Andre's perspective is his view of a general purpose agent, and then something, an AI system that you can onboard as a employee, and it has the memory knowledge accumulate over time and as you onboard it, and be able to like say reason across all different tasks. That kind of general purpose system is probably a decade away, but I think we are seeing a lot of progress in specialized narrow domain systems. Well, actually, in 2017, when we were working on the Dota system, there are already super intelligent agent in games, right? So we can beat the best human players in playing Go and the best human players playing Dota. And I think right now we're seeing the coming back of our reinforcement learning systems, where we can train the agent in narrow domains with a specialized set of tools, right? If your company only uses the set of Word documents and tools that the agent should be trained on, and you just optimize the agent towards those systems, you can reach, I think we'll get to a very good point, reliability and super intelligent capabilities for these narrow domain systems.
Yeah. When?
100%. So from our perspective, I mean, I couldn't agree more that it's going to be the decade of agents, not just the year of agents. Reason being that with LLMs are really just brains. They're good at taking natural language input and give you a response. But the kind of the surface of getting real work done in the real world is much bigger than just intelligence, right? So we say internally, like ChatGPT chats and Genspark does and delivers. Exactly to that reason, because at the end of the day, in real life, we have so many things that we need to get done. So beyond just the brain or the compute or the intelligence, you really actually need the capability to call tools to get real work done, like building a slides, building a financial model, writing investment memos, or building an application. All of these things you can't accomplish just with LLMs. You actually need to, for us, for example, our technology is 3 layers, right? In the bottom, we work with 30 plus state-of-the-art models. So there are OpenAI models, Anthropic models, Google models, and open source models, and in the future, maybe Liquid AI models on the edge device. So on top of that, we built orchestration layer. Basically, these models are good at different things. For example, if we're building a slide deck, we may call on OpenAI models to build a work plan first, and then tell the story. And then when it comes to building the slides, we may call on Claude models to write coding HTML to render the slides. And then we may call on open source models to write in Python code to plot the charts. So it's a combination of all of these things, right? So the models are good. They're good at giving you that intelligence, but they're not good enough to getting the real work done. And when it comes to agentic AI, our understanding is you need to build the tools, right? Our second layer is 100 plus in-house tools to allow these LLMs to actually do things. Beyond that, I'd say one other thing we've learned is at the end of the day, when it comes to agentic AI, when it comes to getting real work done, the optimization goal could be very different from just LLMs. Like when it comes to eval benchmarks at OpenAI, Anthropic, and so on, they pursue pure intelligence, right? But we at Genspark, we build AI agents for knowledge workers. And I'm a knowledge worker myself. I don't remember last time I did an Olympian level math problem in the last 10 years. We don't do those things day to day. So when it comes to how we optimize for the output of our product, it's about the quality. It's about the reliability, right? You got to be able to rely on the results of the agentic output. So that's what we focus on when it comes to evals and optimization, right? So.
Cool, good answer. But tied up to that, I don't know how much time do you have, Jeff here? Every time. Okay, cool. I like that because I can keep the conversation go. This is my job. Actually, I like to moderating with the founders. So I just got back from Dubai, the other side of the world, yesterday. One big question at a conference that I was asked while I was at a panel is like, given what we have, I think what Andre was inferring here is like, is the industry right now is like a little ahead of themselves? I mean, the financial people like to use the term bubble. So I would love to, but basically my answer to them is like, we're in Silicon Valley, we're intrinsically optimistic because we're entrepreneurs. We want to see the future that we want to be. So we tend to be a little ahead of ourselves. But given what we see today in a more practical way, I'd love to ask you guys here in Silicon Valley, what do you see the current things about agent adoption, deployment, and real world enterprise adoption? Is that bubble? Is that some kind of practical problem I'm trying to resolve? Yeah, maybe start with.
Yeah, so I mean, with classical metrics, like with any kind of previous technology, you would say we're 100% in a bubble. But if you think about the impact of the technology itself, I would say, what is the definition of a bubble where the whole economy, where the whole kind of government structures, where the whole new mathematics, new science, new physics, new energy sources, new material, you know, if you have the opportunity to actually get all of these things with the technology that we are all like globally investing kind of energy and capital in it, is it really a bubble, or what is the definition of a bubble? You know, so I always have like these type of questions, and I feel like I like the fact that how you know, the new generation of startups that are emerging from Silicon Valley these days are going into the direction of AGI startups. You know, are going into the direction of AI scientists. You know, and AI scientists would be meaning that a group of extremely talented humans are sitting together with the most powerful versions of AI to really advance a certain class of, you know, certain direction in artificial intelligence. For example, like in material science, like just focus on doing discovering kind of new material. In healthcare, you know, in you know, like in different in energy, you know, in everything that you actually put your life and your energy into, like you can really specialize a group of people to really focus on these things and really make a discovery at a rate that was not possible before. So given the speed of the evolution of the technology and the impact, the potential impact of the technology, I would say, I would question, and I would still do not have like a proper answer for, is it a bubble or not?
Tim, do you have a view?
Yeah, I think it is a bubble, but we're right now in the very beginning of the formation of a bubble that's supposed to be very, very large. Because if you think about the like all the software, right? So in the last decade, SaaS, it's like, how much money do you pay, say, Workday? You have like how many employees? Maybe like, you know, 100 employees pay $50 a month. But if you think about the impact of an agent, if you can have an AI agent that could automate, like, say, 1 or 2 HR person, that amount of labor spend is actually going to be huge compared to the amount of money you spend on software. So if you compare the global software spend and then in contrast compare the global like labor spend, the labor spend is going to be like 10 times or 100 times more than the software spend. So right now, I think agents are just starting to work, and we only see a very low level automation. But for certain areas, we see higher level automation. For example, coding is probably for the area that we see very high level automation. A lot of code that used to be written by humans, now you can just like automatically generate it. And that we see a lot of like automation, and that's why there are probably like a lot of like 10 billion or 100 billion coding companies in that space. And I think that's one example of like a huge like a labor spend being captured by AI. And as AI systems get better and better in the decade of agents, we'll see more of that labor being captured. So we're still at the very beginning of the curve, and I think yeah, we'll see more of that value being created in the next decade.
It's your turn.
Well, from our perspective, look, bubble is a relative thing. What I mean by that is it comes down to two things. One is perception of value, and the other is the reality of value. And the distance between these two, the bigger it is, the more stress there is, the more tension there is, and it's more likely to kind of pop, right? So from what we're seeing, it's also relative from, it's not the same for every company. From the perspective, the perception of value, we have a lot of hope. We are seeing a lot of signals. So the entire market, especially, when it comes to the capital availability, it is there. It is amazing. Now, from a value creation or reality value perspective, MIT just published this report saying that 95% of companies fail, but there is that 5% of companies succeed, right? From our perspective, to Rocky's perspective, we're just in Dubai, and one of our clients is the Dubai Electricity and Water Authority. So the first use case I learned from these guys when it comes to Genspark is they said in the past, whenever they have a public announcement, they would hire a human being to read the articles and then put the audio onto their website. And that task by itself costs thousands of dollars a month. Now they just use Genspark.ai pod. They throw the document in and then just turn that into audio and then put it on a website. That's like $25 a month. That is real value creation. That is not bubble. So it comes down to if real value is being created and if people perceive it that way. So I'd say our hope is more and more creation could catch up with kind of our perception of the value. And then that'll give us, I'd say, the blooming of 1,000 models and a much better future, right? Yeah.
Okay, cool. I like that. 1,000 models. We have 5 minutes, 4 minutes. So I would like to have the last question goes to the knowledge side of things. Basically, given what we did in the industry, in the realities of deploying our product, I want to say, what's the learning? What's the knowledge? What do you want to say? We are a group of founders here, tech executives here. If you are starting a company in the AI space, the agent space, and adopting the technology, what's your crystal ball? Like you want the audience to know, like the knowledge side of things. Yeah.
From my perspective, I learned this from my co-founder, our CEO, Eric. So early on, I was testing all kinds of AI tools on the market. And he's like, look, Wen, you got to stop testing. You got to start using it. It's two different things. You can test all the things on the market and you feel like you know a lot. That is not real until you really, apply AI agents before you apply yourself. So I did that. Today, I don't write my own emails anymore. I just every morning come into the office, I Genspark scan through my inbox. We build integrations with Google Suite, Microsoft Suite, 500 MCP servers, Notion, Slack, Salesforce, you name it. So I would just say, hey, scan through my inbox. Tell me what's going on, and then draft to the first 5 responses for the most important and urgent stuff for me. And I'll proofread it. Human beings, we still need to take responsibilities. But just by doing that, I really survive. I mean, looking at, hundreds of unread emails every day, it's like, oh my God, right? The only way to survive is to apply AI before we apply ourselves. That is the future of work. I'd say stop testing it, just start using it, embracing it, really just take advantage of it. I was at this YC event. Vinod Khosla gave a talk, and Gary Tan was interviewing him. Gary was like, okay, Vinod, what are you saying? Who is going to do well? He said, people who take advantage of AI is going to do really well. Well, he didn't say people who would invent AI would do really well. So I'd say, yeah, take advantage of it. Take advantage of Genspark.
Very well said. I do take advantage of Genspark too.
We did use Genspark for the moderation, by the way.
1,000 free credits for everybody if you go to our booth. Yeah.
So in terms of knowledge, I would say there's a lot of, knowledge from the last decade will not be applicable in the AI because the ground is shifting so quickly. I think it last, 2 years ago, it's like every 6 months there's like a model release. Now it's like many foundation model labs and every, 1 month there's model release. So because technology is moving so fast that the only way startup can survive is to move as fast as you can, right? So the people VCs will ask, what is the mode of a company in this era? And I think that the best mode is actually speed. If you can leverage tools coding tools and Genspark and all the AI tools you can leverage and just move as fast as you can against your competitors, just shift product features and stay at the edge of the curve, you will adapt to the model frontier change and you will be able to be the leading company in the space.
Yes, I wanted to actually talk about the moat and it's for enterprise kind of adoption of our technology. If you're building solutions for enterprises, for us has been exactly this. So we started Liquid AI on a foundationally different technology. So from a science point of view, we've been working on this technology for the last decade. So 10 years of research went into like design of where we are today. So, but then when you think about productionalization of science, then rapid integration is the ultimate mode. I would say science is always we have always believed that science has to be in the open domain and it has to be accessible for all. And that's why throughout our research at MIT and other places, and also at Liquid, we have always opened how we are actually achieving this technology. We're trying to contribute to the education kind of piece to really let everybody know how we are designing technology. But then there is a translation of a science into a product has been like a journey for us. But then that led to the understanding that for the type of enterprise kind of work that we are doing, rapid integration and expansion inside kind of the product stack of your clients is like the most important thing. And that was like a piece that I think was extremely new for me, because you always think as a technology company, you feel like, oh my God, my science is going to be always my science is the moat, or my technology is the moat. But technology moat is not the thing that actually always stay with you, especially in the age of AIs getting better and better. I think this is something that, startup CEOs and founders should start learning, how to turn that process and as quickly as possible.
Okay, I think we're gonna just end here. It's perfect. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Guys.